Hello everyone, welcome back to the Union Pacific Railroad Evanston Subdivision, an N-scale inspired HO layout. It's been a long 3 weeks, but we are back at work on the layout, and finally an update on where progress is at this time. Spent about a week and a half down in sunny Georgia. It was very warm too, had a great time, and we're back at the layout now though. And finally, an update. In this video, you'll see the extension of the main line all the way to Curvo. We now have 175 feet of main line done out of 300 on the first level. There'll be an additional 180 or so on the upper level. Wanted to announce that you can become a member of the Union Pacific Railroad Evanston Subdivision. As you're watching the video, you'll notice right next to the subscribe button, there's a join button where you can click on and then become a member. You can be a brakeman, a conductor, or engineer. I think one of the coolest perk, along with all the others, is unreleased footage that's going to be released throughout the week. So not only will you be able to see the weekly updates like everyone else, but you'll also be able to view just some raw footage that I shoot throughout the week, and definitely be something I think you will find interesting. There's also some live chats and some live videos and so forth where we can kind of have discussions together. So a lot of cool things that you'll be able to participate in if you become a member. Alright, so here we are coming down to the basement. This is how things were when I came back from vacation. Actually, I should say this was shot just before I left. So the morning that we flew out to Georgia, I just did a quick video to show you how things are. There you saw the staging yard, first control point, Morgan. There you have Taggart and Devil Slide, Wholesome Cement. This is the big peninsula that we've been working on, and I did get roadbed all the way to Curvo. This is the Wholesome Cement area. Kind of see how everything looked just before I left on vacation. So I was able to get all the joists in. There's the other part of the staging yards, but I was able to get all the posts in, all the joists in and risers, and was able to do some roadbed. And that kind of made it a little bit difficult to be away because I was anxious to get trains rolling on the peninsula, but was never able to get to the point where we had a roadbed and track installed, so I had to wait till we got back. And then this is how it looks. Now as we're going through Castle Rock here and towards Curvo, there's the main lines separate. The near main line with the concrete ties is the original main line, and as you notice, it's a 1.7% incline, a much steeper incline. There you have the feeder wires. A much steeper incline than the more modern main line, and also a lot more curves. So what happened is the original main line, which was laid out in the 1860s. They did not have the equipment to dig the earth or do tunnels as extensively as they were later on the modern one. So the original one has to go around all the mountains and go at a steeper grade. Here you have the Curvo. This is where Curvo is. As you can see from the prototype photographs, there's some tunnels immediately after Curvo. So as they cross, you can see both main lines. The The original on the left and the modern on the right. But from Curvo, it goes straight into tunnels. We're going to be getting to that in a little bit. All right, people have been asking about laying track with the micro engineering. People always ask, how do you keep it, curved smoothly, or how do you keep it straight and so forth? And it really isn't too difficult. The first thing I do is check to make sure that the rails are lined up, just going straight from the previous one. Put in some rail joiners, adjust the ties so that the first tie goes under the rail joiners. Okay, then I get the rail joiner started on the existing track. Don't push it all the way, just get it started. And then I don't push in with the ties, it just messes everything up. Instead I use a rail nipper to grab the rails at the rail joiner and just kind of work it in there until the rail joiner is on both pieces of track. And then I also have the first tie slide under the rail joiners. Micro engineering makes their ties so that the last tie does not have any spikes, and that way you can slide the rail joiners under it. All right, then once I have it all set, then I just simply go through and I curve it in this manner. So I just do it as I go along, and by doing it this way, the inside rail is always going to be longer than the outside rail at the end of it as you curve it. So by doing this, all that extra length goes to one end of the track, and then you can just nip it off. All right, once you have it kind of loosely, I don't really care just how smooth it is right now, because all I'm doing is using a pin vise to drill some holes into the ties. I do the first hole is on the fourth tie. Second hole is about 3 or 4 inches from there. And then I do that on both ends. And once I have those first 2 holes on the ends, then I put the rest of the holes about 8 or 9 inches from each other in the middle of the track. So I do the middle one, and then I kind of just by sight kind of space them out evenly. So altogether there's 7 holes that I put in each one. Now one thing you have to be careful of, you notice I did the hole there, you can see the spiral windings that come out of there. You can't leave it like that. You don't want to see that, but then also the spike will go through. You have to clean it off so you have a nice clean hole, and then the spike will go through without causing any trouble, and you don't have the unsightly spiral plastic. And then I just use a needle nose pliers to grab some Atlas spikes and then just press them in. The Atlas spikes are 1/2 inch long, and my road bed is 3/8 of an inch, and then the tie itself, I don't know how thick that is, but it adds a little bit more. So the spike does not go very far into the wood, so you don't have to press it very far. It goes through the foam, extremely easy, I should say. And then you just have to go, maybe a 1/16 of an inch further into the wood, and then that's enough to hold it in place. So the idea with the reason I use spikes instead of glue, then I do make adjustments just by sighting down the track. And when people ask, how do you get it so straight? I put my head down and sight down the track and just make adjustments until it looks perfectly curved or smooth, however the case may be. And then we're ready to run trains. But anyway, I spike them down rather than gluing, just because in case I want to make changes along the way, I can do so. A lot of times I'll go back and see some other areas that need to be adjusted. I also have the the plywood will shrink, so that will cause some adjustments. So I don't really worry about it being perfectly straight or perfectly curved until I'm ready to ballast. And by that time, all the shrinking has been done with the wood, and I can get everything adjusted, and then I make sure it's as perfect as possible, because once you ballast them, it's pretty much in place. All right, here we have the first train going through Castle Rock and up to Curvo. This is an Autorack train. This is made up of 20 scale trains Autoracks. I like these cars. They're very, very well detailed. They look just outstanding. A couple things I don't really like about them is the couplers are not the best. They're too long, so separates them out a little bit more than they should be, and they don't really work that great. And then the cars also don't roll that well, although the lack of free rolling actually makes it kind of fun for doing helpers. And so these two engines at the front really can't pull this 20-car Autorack train by themselves. So I added a pusher DPM on the back of the train. And it's kind of cool because since they can't, the first two can't pull the whole train by themselves, the DPM really does help in pushing the train over, or train up the hill. Here we have it coming on the 1.7% incline on the original main line. That first curve there that it's going through is, I believe, like 44 inches. So that's the sharpest curve, although it doesn't really look too bad. But that is the sharpest curve up to this point. This curve here is a little bit bigger. Uh, 1.7 is a lot steeper than I thought it was going to be. It's pretty steep. I'm used to doing Midwest railroads, which have basically little inclines at all, but here it's 1.7, so it's pretty steep. Now the original main line on the right there, that's about maybe 0.25%. So that is on an incline, but it's very slight. And there's going to be a tunnel there as that big curve goes around. And the idea is that the mountain there that the modern main line will be tunneling through, the original main line had to go around it because they couldn't dig a tunnel that long because they didn't have the equipment. Whereas a modern main line, they did have the equipment, and so they went ahead and tunneled. They did not have to go around that mountain and did not have to do such a steep incline. All right, here we are at Curvo. So from here, it will go straight into a tunnel and then around the peninsula. Both tracks go straight into a tunnel after crossing over each other. Then as it goes from here to Wasatch, then the modern main line will catch up and we'll have a little bit more of an incline, and they'll get back on the same grade. And let's run another train. Now, by the way, that first train, on usual practices, it would not go up the original main line. So the original main line, since it has the higher grade and more curves, is mainly used for downhill. So we're doing it opposite this way just because I kind of like to see it going up the steep incline. Here we have a flashing yellow for a crossover, so this one is crossing over to the modern main line. This is an intermodal train headed up by 3 SD70s. I'm going to drone view here. I was using the tripod, but I'm switching over to drone view because I'm going to need to get the camera high enough to get over the the original main line. You can see it crossing over. And it's heading on a much less steep incline. So this is about a 0.25% incline here. So both of them are going up. So right about here, it's going to then go into the tunnel. So there's going to be a mountain right there that's going to go through. I kind of get the idea that the original main line didn't, in the 1860s, didn't have the equipment to tunnel that much, so they went around it in a steeper grade, while the modern main line, which modern as in like 1916, it was able to tunnel through the mountain and be able to go up on a much less steep incline. And then they cross over at Curvo. This is definitely different than the Midwest modeling that I've been doing up to this point. It's kind of cool. I really am enjoying not only doing HO, but doing mountain. This week I have a great friend, Mark Bridgewater, is going to be coming in on Wednesday, and we're going to be actually doing some mountain scenery. So I'm hoping to do Castle Rock. I'm not sure if we will or not, but we'll do some places, do as much as we can. So it'll be kind of cool to see some actual mountain scenery and see how it all is going to look. Once it goes from Curvo, then the original main line goes up a lot less steep, and then the modern main line goes up at about 1.14%. So it's going to go through a series of tunnels here. The original main line actually has a curve down to 36 inches, but that will be inside a tunnel. The original main line has a pretty wide curve. I think it's like 50 inches. So that's where we are today. This week, we're doing some scenery with Mark Bridgewater. Here's some of his scenery that he's done on his layout, which is outstanding. So he's going to, hopefully we'll do some of the same type of things on my layout this week. If you become a member, you'll be able to see some of the video as we are working. We'll be posting, he's coming Wednesday, so we'll probably be posting Thursday and Friday and Saturday all the way up to the next update next weekend. I'll probably post a little bit as I'm working by myself, also Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. But definitely look forward to the next update. And if you can, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you want, join as a member. Have fun, everybody. Take care.